So I'm only getting about 3 or 4 hours of runtime out of my Jotul 602. This is my new 2022 model, and you can see when I close the air intake all the way, it won't stay closed all the way. So I'm going to take the door off, take it into my workshop and see if I can modify possibly the air intake so that I can choke it down just a little bit more, because I have plenty of heat. I just need a little more runtime. So let's see how this goes. But before I do this, I want to prove up my theory. So I looked at my other Jotul 602 in my small cabin, and I took the door off, and these air vents close all the way. Let me show you what that looks like. So I changed doors now. This is from my 1995 Jotul 602, and it fits right in here. It doesn't close. The latch mechanism is a little different, but it seems to be sealing perfectly. And if you look at the air intake, this is wide open. And if you close it, look at this. There's very, very little light coming through. So this will restrict the airflow a lot more than on the other door that came with my 2022 Jotul 602. So I'm gonna burn this today. I'm gonna try it and see what the results are. And then I'm going to modify this door to close exactly like the other one does. So let's fire this thing up. So let me try something here. I'm up to full temperature on my exhaust, so now it's time to throttle back. I'm cooking some food on top. It's boiling and steaming, so that's good. And I got a pretty roaring fire going. And let me see if I turn this all the way down, what it does. Yeah, you can see the immediate impact it has on the combustion. And let's just watch the temperature, see what it does. I'll be back in a few minutes. So a few minutes into it, you can see the fire has really simmered down with the air intake completely closed. And I went from 550 Fahrenheit to now below 300 Fahrenheit on the exhaust temperature. And that's a range, that I was never able to reach before. So I'm very happy with the progress. My food is cooking nicely on the stove, and my burn time is greatly extended now with being able to close the air intake. So I guess tonight I have to modify the other door and see if I can get the air intake to match. So let me get a light background down so we can all see it here a little bit better. Let me get the door on here. So on the back side of the door here, there are 2 Phillips screws. And I had this open before. I don't know if it was on this door or the other one. And they usually come right off. So let me see how this works. Oh yeah, they're loose. And there are 2 springs in here, so when you take this apart, be mindful of those 2 little springs. So the bottom portion now comes off. Okay. There's nothing to it, just a piece of cast iron. Here are these 2 springs I was talking about. So you want to make sure you keep those somewhere. It's just pressing the slider against the door. So I think those are fairly important. And then here's the sliding mechanism. Again, there's nothing to it. And I'm not quite sure what the issue is, but I believe I may have to file out the corner here. There could be a little bit of a burr on it. So actually right now it closes all the way. Maybe it has to do with this guy. Let me investigate. I'll get you right back. So the minute I put this cover on, the air intake doesn't close all the way. So something is restricting the slider here with this piece. Now, let me just ease it up a little bit, loosen it a bit. Look at this, so if I push against it, it lifts it up. So if I tighten this down, so it's almost like this cover prevents the slider from moving over, which is going to be a pretty easy fix, I think. Let me see, I'm not quite sure what it is yet, but we'll figure this out. Take this guy off. It's probably these stops right here. Again, keep those little springs handy. And there's also a little gasket right here for the glass. So let me just see what this looks like. So if this moves in here. Oh, okay, yeah, there are two stops right here. And you know, this door is from the newer version after the EPA changed the emissions rule in 2020. I think it was April of 2020. And I'm not quite sure if these are new. And I'm not quite sure if they intentionally leave this vent open a little bit more to get hotter combustion to lower the emissions levels. There's a very good chance of that. So, well, I'm going to modify this so that it works to my specifications. See, it closes all the way. It's just not moving over enough, and what is restricting it are these two little stops right here. So I guess I have to machine these off. So this is how the mechanism works, and there's two ways of going about it. Okay, the cleanest way would be to machine these steps off. Now, an easier method just yet would be to notch the slide. That is a lot easier. You can do that with an angle grinder. You just mark it where it needs to be notched and basically create a little indentation. So I'm not quite sure what to do yet. I'm gonna see if I can machine these guys off here a little bit. Let's see how this goes. Okay, let me see if I can get this set up without screwing this up too badly. I'm gonna adjust the height because I really only need to, here we go, that's my height. Let me get this set up. There we go. Let me just see how this goes. It's hard to see. It's pretty cleanly machined out. Let's see how it works. So let's see if I can show you. So the issue was twofold. First was the range of motion was restricted here. We used an end mill to get rid of these two bumps that were built in from the factory. The other issue was I had to machine out a little more room here for the spring to move over, because these springs don't slide very well on the bottom cast iron piece. So they had a little bit of a memory effect. You would push it over close and then it would open slightly again. So there was a springiness. So to increase the range of motion, I machined this out. Again, I just used my drill press and an end mill. Just take your time, no big deal. And if we take this off, to address the sliding issue of these springs, I use some copper paste, anti-seize. You can get this in automotive stores. Same on the other side. And now the springs slide a lot easier back and forth. So that took the memory effect out of it. Here, this is the anti-seize I used. It's already very old. You can get this at Napa Auto Store or any auto store. It's a copper anti-seize. It has very high temperature resistance, so I think it'll work well here for a while. So let's get this thing assembled and test it out. Okay, so reassembling, put the slider back in here. That's a little piece of gasket that goes right on top of this piece of glass. Make sure you don't forget these two springs. Put those two springs on here. Align the gasket. And the gasket just goes underneath this little ledge here. Nothing to it. Put your two screws back in. Yeah, problem solved. Works perfectly. Closes all the way. And it doesn't have the springiness it had before. Before it would spring back a little bit. Now it's completely closed. So this is my door from my 1995 Jotul 602. I got a light behind it. Open, close, and it closes all the way. Very nice, that's what we want. Let's take a look at the other one. Check this guy out. And here's the one that I modified from my 2022 Jotul 602. Actually, this is this stove. Okay, there you go. Okay, open and close. A little bit coming through here, not a whole lot, but it's a lot better than it was before. So let's try this out. So door is in, air vent is completely closed. I have a good fire going. Let's see what the temperature is. Well, we're looking at about 300 Fahrenheit, which is nice. So for a long extended burn time. Let's open this up. Let's see if we can get this up to 500 or 600. Yeah, so opening the air vent gets it up to about 500 right now. So that's pretty good. Yeah, so I call this problem solved. See you on the next one.